Hello, I'm Councilmember Bill Farmer, welcoming you to Lexplore. Today I'm at the UK Faculty Centre with Hilary Boone's portrait, a beautiful portrait of him. A very special place to talk about a very special place also on campus, the UK Press. Mac McCormick is joining me. Please stay with us. Welcome back to Lexplore. We're here at the Faculty Center. Mac McCormick has joined me from the UK Press. Mac.
My pleasure.
Nice to spend time with you today.
Good to see you again, and always happy to talk about the press and what's going on.
Well, I think, and that's really one of the reasons I wanted to come talk to you. UK Press is underappreciated.
I wouldn't say we're underappreciated so much as underknown about. Folks are certainly familiar with the books we've published.
I agree.
But not many folks know about the press as an entity and our history and exactly what all we do for both the Commonwealth of Kentucky and the various institutions of higher learning across the state.
So how is our press founded?
The press was founded by Dr. Clark, Thomas D. Clark.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that. How cool.
Yes. In 1949, we were officially formed, although what the press started, or the university started publishing books in 43.
All right.
And I think a lot of that was done through Dr. Clark from the history department, or some of it was, and the apparatus for that ended up becoming the press. We hired Bruce Denbo from LSU in 1943 and officially organized the press as the University of Kentucky Press. In 1969, we reorganized and became what's known as a consortium press. We don't just represent the University of Kentucky. We represent all the public universities in the state, Eastern, Western, Northern, UK, U of L, Moorhead, Murray, 5 of the private schools, Berea, Center, Transy, Georgetown, and Bellarmine, as well as both the historical societies, the Filson Historical Society of Louisville, and the Kentucky Historical Society. So we're a consortium model, and there are a number of other university presses around the country set up on that model. And basically it forestalled a second press opening in the state.
Sure.
Because now we represent everybody.
You cover their needs.
If you look at like Ohio, for instance, well, there's Ohio State University Press, there's Kent State University Press, there's Ohio University Press, and as a result, all of them are tiny. We're bigger than any of them.
Are you really?
Despite the fact that Ohio outweighs us population-wise, there's a lot more there to sustain a press, but since they're splitting resources over 3 presses, Kentucky doesn't have the population base to do that and have a press that really is able to compete.
But you'd have the submission base. With all those entities making submissions, I assume.
Well, not all of our books come from Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
Not by any stretch. We're broken down, we do about 50 to 60 books a year.
Okay.
New books, plus some reprints. About a third of those, between a quarter and a third, are Kentucky-related titles. And then the rest are in various other fields. We publish, our trade titles are in 3 main areas, Kentucky and regional. And that's everything from creative writing to history to guidebooks to cookbooks.
I had no idea.
Oh yeah, the Kentucky Bourbon Cookbook, which we published about a year and a half ago, won the Gourmand World Literary Award for the best book in the world on cooking with wine and spirits.
I need a copy.
The author is at Sullivan University over in Louisville, and he actually went to Paris to accept the award. Paris, France, not
in Bourbon County.
Right. Yeah. The other 2 major trade areas, and by trade I mean books that you would be able to go to a Barnes & Noble and find on the shelf.
Okay.
We do a lot of military history, and we also do a lot of film biography. In fact, in military history-wise, we just launched a brand new series in conjunction with the Association of the United States Army that's foreign military studies. And what we're doing with that series is translating key works that were originally published in other languages. The first 2 books that came out, one of them's Ruckzug, about the German retreat from France after D-Day.
All right.
And that one was just reviewed in the Wall Street Journal weekend before last. So they get major national attention. Our film biographies, we kind of developed a niche for it. We're picking up the slack of the types of actors and biographies of the types of actors, actresses, and directors that the New York trade publishers don't want to deal with anymore because they can't sell 25 or 30,000 copies.
Okay.
We can sell 5 or 10,000 copies.
And it's
For
all
us, that's a
fine.
big success. For them, it would be a disappointment. So we've got biographies coming out. We've got one that'll come out early next year, Maureen O'Hara.
Wow.
We just got
Noted actress of a certain
Noted
period.
actress
Yes.
of a and most of the film biographies we do are stars that are. We're not publishing the latest George Clooney biography. Random House is going to.
But we can make a pitch. Yeah. Okay.
But we're publishing. We just got advances in the other day of a Mary Pickford book. So we're going back to the silent era there.
Oh, back
But
to the
it's-
beginning of Hollywood.
Yes, and we've done biographies of Greer Garson, Ida Lupino,
Yeah.
Peter Lorre.
Nice. I just watched The Maltese Falcon last night.
Yes.
It was just so riveting to look at the black and white and watch it all.
And the thing that I learned from that book is, unfortunately, Peter Lorre's daughter looks exactly like him.
Topic for another time.
But most folks here are familiar with our Kentucky books, and we do a lot of them. We have a series of creative writing that features creative works by established Kentucky writers. We just came out with The Hills Remember, the complete short stories of James Still. And that's got, including, I think, 7 stories that had never previously been published. Manuscripts that were in his files when he passed away over a decade ago.
Well, you talk so first person about all of this. How long have you been with the press yourself?
I've been with the press 14 years now. 14 years this past summer, so a little over now. And I've done a little bit of everything in marketing. I've been the publicist for a while. I do subrights, so if a foreign company wants to translate one of our titles,
Okay.
I'm the one they talk
They
to.
come to
negotiate
you.
a contract.
Yeah.
Film options, which sound a lot more exciting than they
Than
are.
it
That's
is.
a lot of legalese, many pages of legalese.
As big as some of the books.
Not quite that big, but definitely denser than most of the books.
Physically, though, where is the
Physically.
press, or where has the press been?
The press has, we've always been housed on campus.
Okay.
At UK. We originally, way back in the day, we weren't really housed. For a lot of years, we were in the basement of Lafferty Hall. Several years back, we bought a building across Limestone from the main part of campus. So we're on the other side of Limestone,
Okay.
pretty close to the corner of Virginia Avenue. So down from the Theological Seminary across from Scoville Hall, if you know that intersection.
I know where you're talking about.
And we've been there since before I started the press, but only about 4 or 5 years before I started.
So that would be your administrative
That's
area.
administrative, yeah, that's the press offices, that's where all the staff work out of. Not particularly exciting, we all sit in front of computers just like everybody else, but we don't keep books here. Our books are warehoused elsewhere. There's just not the space.
And then do you pick printers according to the size of the book and the how much you're going to
Well, I mean, actually,
print?
there are regulations governing printing contracts that are governed by the Constitution of the Commonwealth.
You have
So
opened yet another door.
And this is one of the old holdovers, like the dueling
Okay.
clause
Yes.
that is. I mean, it still serves a purpose. I mean, we have to do a bid process, which we would have to do anyway, but
Yes.
it's peculiar because it's written into the Constitution that way, which is a little odd, but we would do it anyway because that's university regulation. So we bid out for printers, and a lot of them are in the Ann Arbor area because one major book printing company started there, and then
Well, it's
offshoots.
become the industry.
And then folks left that and started another one in town. We do some overseas printing. A lot of our big 4-color books are printed overseas because of the quantity. I mean, a Kentucky 4-color, coffee table book, we're not printing 50,000 copies of.
Well,
Right.
but the expertise can be here.
Oh, yeah,
What goes
absolutely.
between the covers comes from here.
Absolutely.
And then you have them printed and shipped back. And then do you physically, if I want to go look for books, Do I go someplace here?
Actually, Joseph Beth has as good a selection of our books. The Mars Bookshop does as well. UK Special Collections and General Circulating Library, Young Library, theoretically have a
Sure.
copy of everything we've published. They have been, what's gone missing from the shelves from years ago.
Who would know?
But shouldn't be from Special Collections. But no, we don't have a storefront. We're not set up that way. But
Do you keep an archive of your alls?
Yes,
You do?
we keep an archive, although again, going back into the 40s and early 50s, I'm sure we're missing a few books. But
Yeah, and things can get away from you. But I mean, you're
yeah, we keep copies of everything, and we continually bring books back into print as well. We just brought one back into print called Kentucky Bourbon: The Early Years of Whiskey Making, which was originally published in 1972 and had been out of print for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
And, it's the early years of whiskey making. It's 17 and early 1800s. The material hasn't changed that much. Some new stuff has come to light, but the book itself is still a valuable resource and a good read.
And bourbon's more popular now than ever.
More popular now than ever. So that's one that we decided. This has a life.
Yes.
And we redesigned the cover and
Pep it up, yeah.
And republished it, and it's doing actually very well.
But then you go to shows or fairs or...
We go to shows and fairs occasionally. This past weekend we were at the Holiday Market out at the horse park that the Lexington Junior League puts on every year.
Yeah.
We had a booth and we're selling books. We were also had a booth and set up at the Kentucky Book Fair in Frankfort this past weekend.
That's gracious.
Which is always, and we had about 25 authors who were out on the floor as part of the fair signing copies of their books. And it's always my favorite show to work.
But people can find anything, I'm assuming, online.
Absolutely. www.kentuckypress.com is our website, and all of our in-print books are available for order there. Amazon, of course, has them listed, all listed as well, and folks can go there. Folks can also follow us on Twitter or Facebook.
That's great to add in, sure.
Absolutely, and we have a very active Twitter feed and try and keep folks appraised of what we're doing.
So about current releases, you get kind of current commentary?
Releases, news, found out, it's been about a month ago now that one of our books, William E. Ellis's History of Education in Kentucky, which is broad-based. I mean, it covers K through post-secondary education from the beginning of the state to the present. Very, chunky book, a lot of material to cover, but it was given a general award by the Kentucky Historical Society.
That's neat.
So news information like that, major reviews. I mentioned that Rub Zug was reviewed in the Wall Street Journal. Stuff like that we tweet out about and send a link because folks are interested.
Well, you've brought some of the goods with you.
I brought a handful of books, some new releases and some, one that's not quite new, The Family Legacy of Henry Clay, which came out about a year and a half ago, brought because it's obviously of relevance to the 5th District since Henry Clay's house is right there.
It's in the 5th District. Yes, sir. Thank you.
And this is not a biography of Henry Clay, though it includes a lot of information about Henry Clay, but what Lindsay Apple did, and Lindsay's retired now, but he was a history professor at Georgetown College for years, department chair of history there as well. But he looks at the Clay family on up to the current generation.
Neat.
And kind of, it's a family biography, and he traces the legacy of service that the Clay family has been part of throughout their history, and certainly prominent members post Henry Clay. Madeline McDowell Breckinridge comes to mind.
Yes.
Who was married to Deshae Breckinridge, who was it the Herald or the Leader that he was editor?
Oh, now you've asked me a 50-50.
I
got to phone a friend,
One of the two papers of that era, and she was very prominent in the suffrage movement, 1920s, 19. Yeah. So,
all right. And is this the newest one then?
This Kentucky's Frontier Highway came out it came in right before the book fair.
Oh, really?
So this is hot off the press.
Right.
I brought another one that came in again right before the book fair. But this is a look at the Maysville Road, which was the first highway in the Appalachian West. And it served as a major corridor for settlement for this area.
Really?
And they have Carl Rates, who is a professor of geography here at the university.
I see, yes.
And Nancy O'Malley, who's director of the Web Museum here at the university.
Yeah.
Teamed up to do that one for us. And I mean, it's a look at the history of the Maysville Road, but also it serves as kind of a travel guide. They break out the road, you know, the current state and what's there. And I was talking to Robert, who works at the press this morning, and he was like, I'm super excited. I'm going to take my bike out.
And go on the Maysville Road.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to take the motorcycle out when the weather gets nice and take the book as a guidebook and travel the Maysville Road and look at some of this stuff, because he didn't know the history of the area, and this is a companion that he can take along with him.
You have told me so much in so short a time, and our time is short. I would just say to you, I'd like to come back and visit with you again, or at another
absolutely.
time or another place.
Always, I can talk books till the cows come home.
Well, and you can do it very first person, or we could have an author, or we could do anything, but the work you all do is so singular and so special. I'm glad to spend time with you today, man.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
I appreciate it very, very much.
You're quite welcome.
We'll do this again. I'm Bill Farmer for Lexplore. We're always glad to visit with really anyone, just about anywhere. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much.